I'm gonna turn birds into babes. I'm Man217 and I'm gonna use these birds and turn them into beauties. Let's get started. So to start, I gotta search the wild for beautiful birds. And by the wild, I mean Google. The first bird that I found is this thickums right here. This bird is beautiful. It's a tiguan and I love the colors of this bird. The first thing I notice about this bird is, well, the black on its face kind of looks like face paint, and I like to draw face paint on my characters. Also, is that a bra? So I start the sketch and I do a little bit more guidelines than I normally do. I do these lines that help me get the side planes of the face. I do that so I can see this character in a more 3D look, even though it's 2D. So the character looks a little bit funny because of these guidelines, but I will be erasing them later. I do give her very long hair because I want the hair to be the blue color on the bird, and I wanted to have a lot of space on this character. When I'm done and satisfied with her beautiful face, I move on to her boobas. I noticed right away that I kind of exaggerated them a little bit too much. That can happen when you are too zoomed into your piece. And I know here I'm not zoomed in the actual drawing program, but I will tell you that I was zoomed in real life. I was drawing like this. Now, being zoomed in and hyper-focused on your piece can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. If you have too much tunnel vision on what it is you're drawing now, then the whole piece as a whole can, kind of not match. The proportions of her boobas were way off. So I used the liquefy tool and I just shrink them a little bit, pick them up and make them a little bit smaller. I still want them big because this bird is a thick bird. So my character is going to be very thick. I like them thick. I gave her really big eyes because, well, the bird that she's based on, I'm not sure what the bird is. I did a reverse Google search thing and... Who's that Pokemon? I'm not even sure if it's a real bird, but whatever. But the bird has big eyes. I think it's an owl, right? I don't know, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I give her those big eyes and I obviously know that I'm gonna give her a blue bra. But I changed it to a tank top because I want to have her covered up a little bit. I'm giving her that blue color scheme. I want her hair to be this light blue that you see on top of her head, but I also wanted to have white highlights because the bird is white and blue. And I like the way that looks. For the lipstick, I went with a kind of dark blue to match the beak of the bird. I think I'm channeling this bird into this beauty really well. The lighting I chose for this one is a more natural light from above, so things like the shoulder or the top of the boobas will have more light on them. Not that I want to bring more attention to them or anything. One of my favorite things about this piece is the big, expressive eyes. I love her eyes. They're looking at you kind of like innocently, also probably wondering, why am I staring at her? I'm not sure, but I love it. I also love the rendering, the contrast between light and dark. I have really dark darks and really light lights. When you do that, the contrast can make your image really pop. Before I move on, I put some highlights in the hair. I added some face paint to make her look more like the bird she's based on, and I believe that she is beautiful. She is so fly. The next bird that I find while I'm walking through the tall grass like in Pokemon is the Amazonian royal flycatcher. Right away I was drawn to this one because of, well, the crown on its head. I assume that's why they named it the royal flycatcher, because it looks like it has a crown. It's a nice headdress on top of its head, and it drew me in right away. It's a beautiful bird. Also, I like that it was sitting so small on somebody's hand, and I want to try to incorporate that in my drawing as well. So to start this one, I immediately went for a crown on the head of this character. I also wanted to do something a little bit different. In the last one, I didn't do a full body picture because I wanted to focus more on the boobas and the face. I wanted to focus on the upper body. But this one, I want to do a full body picture. This was a problem because, well, I didn't have a reference for this pose. I had some references with the legs up, but it wasn't this exact pose, which gave me a little bit of a problem. Use references, they really help. You think you know what something looks like until you draw it and, well, it looks like crap. And a nice little nod to the original bird picture. I wanted the pharaoh here, or the queen, to be being lifted by her subjects. Help me? Now, I didn't draw the character holding her up very detailed because, well, I don't want to take any focus from the queen. And also, this is not about them. This is about the queen. And when I'm thinking about queens, I'm not thinking about Queen Elizabeth, no disrespect, but I'm thinking more about Beyonce. I want her to look fashionable, sexy, and fierce. I add some feathers to the headdress to further emphasize that she's based on this bird and to kind of relate to the bird a little bit more. I use the rule of 3 to do the feathers, not to be confused with the rule of thirds. The rule of 3 is the idea that 3 words, phrases, or ideas is more memorable. Science has determined that human brains recognize patterns easy, and 3 is an easy pattern to recognize. So I have 3 small feathers, 1 big feather, and then 3 small feathers. The color scheme I chose for this one is more of a gold and blue. Obviously, I chose gold because she's royalty. I wanted her shirt to look more like armor to make it look like solid gold, so I had to make sure I add some shininess to it. I add some highlights all over the shirt, and then I move on to highlighting her hair. For the highlights in her hair, I choose just a blob of color there, and then I use the eraser tool to erase parts of it out to make it look more like natural light in the hair. There's nothing to it but to do it. It's so easy. There's a nice tip for you. If you want to do hair highlights, just put some blobs of color and then go back in with the eraser and erase some of the edges out. And here she is, my royal flycatcher lady. I think she looks awesome. I love this image. I am so glad I went for a full body pose. I kind of like the way it looks, having her lifted up into the air. She looks great. She's beautiful. And last but not least, I found this amazing looking bird. It's called the secretary bird. For me, this bird looks like it got an attitude, but it's still beautiful. Like my wife. I picked this bird because honestly, it looked like it was having a bad hair day, and I thought it would be really fun to draw that in my next character. That's the best part of these challenges. You draw things that you won't normally think of drawing. I wouldn't have thought to draw this girl with bad hair and angry eyes. I gave her really, really weird angry eyes because, like I said, she looks like she has an attitude, and I wanted to exaggerate that. Obviously, the hairstyle I chose for her is a bit goofy, but I did that because I wanted the silhouette to stand out. I made it very big and very poofy. I decided to just do the bust of this character, but I wish I would have did the full body because I did more research on the secretary bird, and look at them legs. The more I look at this bird, the better it gets. I love this bird. I really like the way this one is coming out. I hope I can capture this bird in the drawing. I think I'm doing a really good job so far, but I feel like it'll pop more with the colors. For the colors, I went with an orange shirt to match the orange around the bird's eyes, and I gave her orange makeup. But now that I look at her, she kind of looks like a prisoner. She's angry and she's wearing an orange jumpsuit. She's a prisoner. But she's still a beauty. She is a baddie. I add some highlights in her hair because I still want the hair to look beautiful and shiny. And I lighten her skin tone just a little bit to match the white feathers on the bird. And here she is, my secretary bird, beautiful lady. That was a lot of fun. Let's look at them all 3 together. My favorite has to be the thick girl in the beginning because I like them thick. Let me know in the comments down below which one you like the best. And if you like this video, I did a video recently where I turned emojis into pretty girls. If you'd like to see that, link in the description. And if you like this sort of stuff, watching people have fun and draw and learn some cool tips, you can watch this video right here. I do this all the time. Hit the bell, hit subscribe, and remember, I'm awesome. Thanks for watching.